Welcome to the Higher Power Podcast, where your safe zone for discovering your true self is created. We are your hosts, Frank Sieben and Jill Humphreys. The subject of tonight's podcast is not giving up on your dreams.
Frank, tonight's topic is going to be extremely involved in a way, because in this new digital economy that we find ourselves in, we no longer operate from a traditional way of thinking as to leverage or expansion or the use of a digital platform, if you like, to build a presence online. Or perhaps people are building it still a traditional business. But whichever way you build it, everybody puts a kind of a business plan together. If you don't do it physically, you could do it mentally. And this business plan has some kind of end goal in sight. And the end goal could be to create a better lifestyle for yourself. It could be to also create a place where you're giving other people opportunities.
Yeah, I think everybody determines personal freedom in a different way. So the main goal in most cases, I think, is freedom. If it is financial freedom, personal freedom, or even both.
Now, you and I both know that to actually speculate and say what you want to do in your life, and perhaps you're starting anew with a new venture, you're going to be writing down these expansive thoughts and things. And if you're serious, you're going to be talking to mentors, you're going to be talking to financial advisors, you're going to be talking to people who can help this bring your vision and your dream and your goal into reality.
Yeah, and it's very important at this point that you have people who are really lifting you up. And in most cases, it's hard to find these people in your own environment. So you really have to find help out of your family and friend zone, I would say.
Yes, totally. Somebody who's successful at doing what you need to do, and who obviously have got a proven record and a proven system that will help you grow and develop into the lifestyle that you want, really, the goals that you want to reach. However, the biggest thing that when we lay down these plans is the starting block, where we all start from. But not only that, any of the obstacles or roadblocks that we come along on the way there.
Absolutely, yeah. These roadblocks and obstacles are just waiting for you. They are coming in a technical way. It might also be that you run into people-oriented roadblocks, that maybe there's a person disempowering you, or even a situation which is holding you back from something.
Yes, totally. Now, we in sort of like the journey of the business use the terminology journey quite in a general way, because the journey from where you are today to where you want to go to will never be in a straight line. Success is never, ever in a straight line.
Exactly.
I was just going to say, but unfortunately, there will be a lot of people that are thinking this is going to be quite easy.
Yeah, you're hitting the nail here. And I think these people just have to get real and have to understand that you have to become a totally different person to own that success before you even get successful.
And I also feel, because really, Frank, you and I have got experience with this, because we've got a lot of associates that are building a new lifestyle from a traditional lifestyle.
Yeah.
With your technical prowess, you're actually helping people get rid of some of those roadblocks and take down the walls that they have with the technical side of things.
Yeah.
For me, I help people break through the barriers where the mindset is not as expansive as it should be, and the belief systems are cellular, and people have a problem in breaking through them. But that's where really these two enormous foundations that you have to build on a solid base coincide, and they're both going to take you on different roads.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they're both going to demand an enormous amount of your attention and an enormous amount of energy.
I mean, these situations you will be facing, it might not be today, but probably in 2 weeks or maybe 2 months or something, you will run into a situation like this and you have to be prepared. It's well worth knowing that these situations are coming. These situations are coming your way. So when you know how to react and what to do when certain situations show up, and even if they are unexpected, you know you will be facing roadblocks. And only the fact that you know that this is coming up, you are highly prepared already in your mind.
Yeah. And also a lot of people can't do this on their own. So they're going to need associates with them. They're going to need a community with them. They're going to need people that are able to give them coaching, keep them plugged in and updated with anything new, technical that perhaps comes up that would assist them with websites or really the online real estate that we need to build. But the biggest factor I have found in my side of the profession is when people start to think that they should have been recompensed sooner. Yeah. They should be seen as being a mentor or somebody who is recognized at a very, very early stage in their progression.
Yeah.
When they don't really have enough of the education and enough of the knowledge or the experience,
yeah,
to portray being able to help somebody else. And it's almost like living in such an instant world, we want everything now.
It also is very important that you don't compare your chapter 1 with another chapter 10, because if you just started, you cannot expect results like another person who has been on the road for much longer than you.
And this isn't a topic that we can take lightly, because there's money invested, there's time invested, and yet people seem to give up on themselves so quickly.
Yeah, it's true. We have high responsibility here.
I feel that, unfortunately, even though time's been invested, money's been invested, that we are a nation of people that want rewards for very little input, very little value, and very little service.
That's so true. And I think what most people don't realize is when they quit and maybe jump on something else, they don't know how close they have already been to their success. There is this book, 3 Feet from Gold, by Sharon Lechter and Greg S. Reed.
Now that's a really powerful book, which I've read on a numerous amount of times, and it literally is about people quitting on their dreams, quitting on their journeys, and not realizing that with one more push, one more even phone call, one more advert, you would have a breakthrough.
Exactly. And do you remember, Jill, we watched the video about the water, and it's just this 1 degree making the difference of water boiling and water not boiling.
Yes.
And this can be translated to the effort you put in your business or in your work or whatever you want to achieve in your dreams.
And that is literally at 211, the water is hot and boiling, but 212, it produces steam. Steam can produce momentum.
Big
and
time.
that is the vital degree difference sometimes. That's all it takes to either win a race, build a business, win a competition. The actual concept of this is mind-blowing when you think how small the difference could be that you would have to make. Unfortunately, we seem to think That this whole thing that we've got to do is enormous. It's a gap that we have to really work hard at filling, when in fact you turn up the heat just a little bit more.
If you imagine that you have this vision, that you reach this goal, this aim, this big dream you have, and you know that you will be there at this point, trust me, you will get this 1 degree missing. You will push even more.
That's where we're at really sometimes, when people do jump ship and they think, this isn't working, I'm not getting the results that I hoped for on this, so therefore I'm going to jump into something else. And guess what? There's something else has these obstacles, these roadblocks. Because at the end of the day, if you're building something extremely sustainable in life, you've got to have quality, you've got to have an end product, and you've got to have something residual that you can offer as value to your customers.
Let's talk about customers. I mean, what would customers of your business now think if you change your mind and jump on another, let's call it opportunity, and then next week you tell them, oh, this is even better? I mean, this would question their integrity for me.
Well, for me, I'd be thinking, well, I got to know you. I got to trust you. You were actually telling me everything that was formulated here, that was, offered to me here, whether it's something to do with the product or the guarantee of you would be able to be helping me with, say, like an education product, for example. And now you're actually telling me that this education product isn't working, or are you telling me you're not working?
Yeah.
How am I now supposed to feel, and how am I now supposed to trust you?
There's a whole break of trust.
And the battles that you will have along the way, and the fences and the hurdles that you will jump over or you will fall over, either or, will build you as a person, will enable you to have a lot more understanding of perhaps who you are and how you represent yourself, and also give you a chance to come back and tweak what perhaps failed and improve on it, but not to just throw it away as something. Frank, can you imagine if Edison has decided, I've had enough times of trying to make this electric light bulb?
Absolutely, yeah. But
forget it. It's never going to work.
It's never going to work, yeah. But he's tried it 10,000 times. And when he was interviewed, you know that he said, I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. This is so empowering.
I love it. I do love that. Yeah. And also, as you know, I am an avid reader of Napoleon Hill's stuff. And he was sent out when he was doing Think and Grow Rich. And he was talking to the millionaires, about 50 millionaires who were self-made. How, what did they come across, and how did they do everything in their life that they brought to the table with inventions and whatever. And for me, Henry Ford stuck out. Mm-hmm. The other two that stuck out were the Wright brothers.
Oh, yes.
And the Wright brothers, I never even knew, were the first ones, when aluminium came into their country, that they were the first ones to manufacture an aluminium bike.
Yeah.
And while one of them, I'm not sure which brother it actually was recuperating after an accident on one of their bikes, he was reading an article about the gentleman that was trying to invent the glider, who had been killed in an accident testing out the glider. And he immediately informed his brother, and they both studied the glider because they wanted to invent a machine that left the ground.
Yes.
And at that time, it wasn't an aeroplane, it wasn't a jet, it wasn't anything. It was a machine that could leave the ground.
Yeah.
Now you can imagine these two were working in a shed, and every now and then they would appear with an amazing machine, which they both would get on, cycle and pedal like crazy. And then I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, about 58 seconds, this actually left the ground and landed again.
Yeah. They took off for under a minute, and then they were back on Earth. Yes.
Yeah, but they didn't see that as a failure. They thought that minute, we can make that minute 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. With constant tweaking and constant input, we can do this.
I mean, every huge sportsman is working like this. If somebody breaks a record of, let's say, swimming or running, there's another one breaking the record again because the level just got higher.
Well, Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile.
Yeah.
And now there are people that do it in 3 because somebody out there did it.
Yeah.
And other people automatically think, well, if you did it, I can do it.
Exactly. And this is the attitude we want to bring across here. If anyone has done that before, you can do that too. There's no limit here.
However, this is where the staying power, the grit, the guts,
yes,
the determination and the courage to have that staying power, to have that grounding in that nothing is going to stop me.
Yeah.
Whatever I come across, I can get round, under, over, through, whatever it is. Because if Henry Ford had not had this idea where he almost got locked away for being insane about, you can imagine, Frank, can't you? Everybody had horses, but nobody had what we call now cars. These were machines everybody was petrified of.
Yeah.
But he was determined to follow this, but he didn't only do it on his own. He set up alliances with other people like Firestone, and they had to have alliances where they all got together and they masterminded and they put together things. And Henry Ford was looking at how the assembly of the cars were put together, and he thought, well, how could I move this along quicker to manufacture these quicker? And then suddenly, the conveyor belt side of things, he instigated and put into the factory.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. And on top, I think it's very important to create habits which are supportive for your dreams, because first of all, it starts with the will. You have to put on the will. But as soon as I think it's taking 66 days or 67 days, correct me if I'm not right here, to implement a habit. Let's say, for example, you want to get up early, as a very simple example. You do this for 67 days and it's becoming a habit. And you can translate that into any other area of your life.
Yes, that would go for fitness. That would go for learning a new language. It is a synapse formulation that goes on in the brain that almost acts like, if you can imagine 2 bridges, and when you get this thought process, it shoots off over a synaptic electron across the bridge. If you keep doing that, it ends up being like a heavy-duty electrical cable.
Yeah, true.
And so that pathway means that each time you add to that, the brain says, yes, I know where we're going with this. Yeah. We've laid the foundations. We've got it into a habit. We've got it in our data. We know where you're going, and we know the formulation, or we know the process.
Yeah, it's going to become a success habit and a success pattern even.
Exactly. Well, to actually put this all together, we're actually getting to the fact that nothing is built overnight. There's no overnight success. Well, to put it all together, really, we've hit on people that if Henry Ford had given up, if the Wright brothers had given up, we wouldn't have the experience of flight. We wouldn't have the experience of cars.
Yeah.
And it may have been in those days where that was completely new to everybody. It's just normality to us all now. First, it was a thought. Then it was a physical, tangible thing.
Yeah.
But those thoughts were all maybes, things that were formulated in their mind, but along the way they were tweaked. Along the way, other people came along and added to them. Along the way, other people would put in their experience and their ability to make it real.
Yeah.
And when you're building business, sometimes if you're building it alone, it is even more of a challenge.
Yeah, of course. I would like to quote or refer to Steve Jobs because he says, if you understand that everything around you you see in the world is made by people who are not smarter than you. This is very, very powerful. And also, when you see people becoming successful, you only see that. You don't see what's under the water. You can get the picture of the iceberg. You don't see the hustle. You don't see all the failures. You don't even know what they have sacrificed to get there where they are.
And you haven't seen what they've gone through. You haven't seen the challenges. A lot of people look at people and say, well, it's okay for you. You've had that to support you, or you came from a family that supported you. But at the end of the day, regardless of who they are and how they've got there, they've got there.
Yes. And they got there because they had the vision in mind and they never gave up on this.
No. We were talking before about how a diamond never comes to the surface sparkling, clean and shiny.
That's so beautiful, yeah.
The diamonds are deep underground. They have to be mined, and it's a really, really rigorous process.
Lots of pressure.
To actually get that diamond to the surface, and even then it has to be polished. So we're all diamonds in the rough when we start something out. But it's only the diamonds that get to the surface and get to the process that succeed.
So true.
And at the end of the day, it's the person that you become, not the thing that you're chasing.
That's so right, Jill. It's not what we do. It's who we are, who we truly are. Step into your power.
Yeah, absolutely. And this podcast tonight really is all about that. And it's hopefully will give you some kind of belief to say that when you really stand on that mountain and overlook the climb, and you can see the people that have climbed there with you, and you can see the value, you can see the experiences people have had because you have stuck to your true path. In all adversity, you are looked at and recognized as a leader in this world. And there may be leaders out there that have led people on another pathway and have still got to success in some shape or form. But we each as individuals will follow a pathway that we want to create.
Yeah.
But if we fall off that pathway and we become so drawn to the money, drawn to the instant gain or instant fame, we're going to be left behind because there's no sustainability or credibility to fast growth.
And this is also what's not inspiring anymore. It's manipulative. And who wants to be manipulated in achieving their dreams?
Yeah. And the law of cause and effect for me is extremely powerful. There's lots of things I've done in my life and I thought, oh, well, this is kind of had to make this choice now. These are the consequences I'm in now. And they may have caught up with me 2, 3, 4, 10 years down the road.
Yeah. Every decision you take, you will be sure there is a consequence for this.
Yeah, because there is a counterbalance. Somewhere there is a counterbalance. And if you can stick to your true self path, and even though it may seem incredibly hard for a lot of people, and a lot of people may be negative towards you and may say, I don't understand why you're giving all that time or your energy, you're putting people off because of this and we can't see any results from it. Don't give up because that person has their perspective or has never done what you've done. Stick to your guns, stick to your ground, stick to that dream.
Don't give up on your dream. It's well worth pursuing it.
And there's a lot more people who you can touch in life and who you can help in life if you do this, because people will want to know you, want to know how you did it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You share your knowledge, you share your struggle, and you also help other people succeed. That's it.
Well, for me, Tonight's podcast has been extremely powerful. There's been a lot of thought gone into this. We've seen a lot of people struggle. We've seen a lot of people change their minds. And we know that they could have been great thought leaders. They could have been game changers.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they gave up on themselves, and we never gave up on them at all.
Yeah.
Tonight's message is, if anybody is listening to this and you are going through some major challenges and you're sitting there thinking, that's it, I've had enough, no more stress, no more worrying, wondering, or going into the unknown, stop a moment and ask yourself, in a year's time, could my life have been the way I wanted it to be if I'd have stuck to things that I really was gaining momentum in? But because I gave up on myself, now I will never know.
Yeah, and that's what you're missing out. I mean, if you don't stand for anything, you will fall for anything.
Frank, that's an amazing quote to end on. So for me, I'm going to say good night, God bless, and please do not give up on your dreams.
Don't give up on your dreams and discover who you truly are by just pursuing this dream. And you might not even know where you end up because the dream gonna expand. It's time to wrap this up. So this is us signing out from where your safe zone for discovering your true self is created. Go out and spread the love. See you next week.